Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi. My guest, Dr. Marni Hill Foderaro, is here, and she is so amazing. She's written some awesome books. One that I'm reading right now that is so amazing. I got to show it to you. It is God Came to My Garage Sale. The title already was, already intriguing to me. And so when I got into reading the book, I was like, oh, this is so phenomenal. And now I have Dr. Foderaro here to sit and tell us about it. And not only that, but about the other things that she's doing. So Marni, tell us about yourself and who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, well, thanks, Tammi, for having me on your show. I am a retired educator. I taught high school in the Chicago suburbs for 35 years, and 12 of those years I was an adjunct university professor. And but my biggest role in my life, I guess, is being a mom. That's my biggest pride and joy, is being a mom to two wonderful people, and they're young adults now. I am an author of some best-selling, award-winning books. And I just completed another new book, and I'm working on finishing up a series of books. And I decided to retire to the Caribbean. So I am coming to you from St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. So I am loving my life here, and I am very passionate about writing, and that's been a great joy for me. It's been very healing on many levels, and what's so wonderful is I get to talk with people like you that are making such an impact on the world with having your platform, sharing your stories and the stories of others. So it's really exciting.
I think so. I think that for me, it felt like writing opened up some doors. Mm-hmm. It felt like it opened up some doors to, I don't know, like my imagination, and, really opened up some things to me that maybe I knew I had, but wasn't really embodying. And so is that how writing feels to you? Is that something that you can identify with?
Most definitely. It's definitely a creative process. I mean, I was always someone who enjoyed being creative and encouraged creativity in other people, and certainly have tried different avenues of being creative, but writing and working with words and being able to get a thought across in a very coherent way or interesting way is just very exciting for me. Yes. Mind you, I was an English teacher too, so I've always enjoyed words and reading and writing. So
that was actually going to be my question. I was going to ask you, did you teach English? Because
I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. In fact, one of my first English teachers that I remember was this wonderful, wonderful man, very tall, stoic man named Mr. Bright. And he actually inspired one of the characters in my story, in my vignettes, in my book, God Came to My Garage Sale. And I tried, it wasn't nonfiction, it was fictional. So I was inspired. But that person is Mr. Ardent, which also means bright. in one of the chapters, The Old Man in the White Suit.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah. Which I think you're reading right now. So
yes, I am. It's super powerful. Because as you can imagine, I get a lot of books, and I've interviewed actually quite a few writers. And so I've gotten a lot of books. And I don't know. I think people think I can read like I write. I don't know. but I get a lot of books. And so this one inspired me because the title was like, okay, I need to hear about this. I need to see, what actually went on. And did God actually go to the garage sale?
I believe he did. I believe God was there, even though the book was inspired by hundreds of true accounts of not only my own magical, mystical experiences, but after learning about near-death experiences and doing a lot of research and reading on people that have also had signs and synchronicities from the universe, experiences with God. I combined all of these things into the book. So, of course, everything didn't happen just at this one garage sale, but I wanted the book to be some of these miracles that did happen, that actually happened at one of the many garage sales that I have had. This was a significant one, but it was life-changing. It was born out of trauma. Actually, I had just chosen to leave a 27-year marriage, and that alone is traumatic. But then I realized I lost everything. I lost the house. I lost all my money. I lost my safety and security. I lost my American dream. But when I found out that, the domestic violence that I had experienced and my own journey involved losing an adult child to parental alienation, was just very, very traumatic for me. And I think that was the catalyst for having these amazing experiences. I think spiritual awakenings oftentimes happen as a result of some devastating life experiences.
Yes, they do.
And, you can choose how you handle these experiences. I choose to handle these experiences with love and compassion and goodness and honesty. And, in the face of lots of challenges and some very, very negative, devastating situations. But, how we respond to things is a real testament to our character. And so that was just part of who I was. I didn't really change who I was. I was always an empathetic, loving soul, always very happy. And, so I still remain that, even though I've suffered some significant losses. But, all of us have, especially the last couple of years, we've our reality and our world has really changed in such a way that, we really question, honesty and deceit and dark and light and goodness versus evil. And so, it really prepared me in many ways for, dealing with our world and what we're going through right now. So
yes. I like that. So many times we don't realize, especially we're in the midst of crisis and trauma and all kind of things happen in our lives. I think that if you have lived to be at least 50 years in this earth, then you've been through some stuff.
Right. And I'm a little older than that now. So
exactly.
Yeah,
so
I just celebrated my 60th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a little over now. It was September 14th, but I was very fortunate for my birthday. I went back home, even though I consider the Caribbean home now, but I went back to the Chicago suburbs and I celebrated with friends and family. And I actually was selected with this book, God Came to My Garage Sale. I was selected with the Chicago Writers Association to sell and sign my books at the Printers Row Literary Festival in Chicago. So that was just an awesome experience.
Yes.
And of course, I celebrated at my favorite restaurant in Chicago. I'm very food motivated and love to go out to eat with my friends and family. So I had a great vacation and a great celebration for my 60th.
And you came at the right time when it wasn't quite so cold.
No, right. And, and I don't mind the cold. I lived in the cold my whole life, but it was, a beautiful week in Chicago. So
nice. That is so nice.
Yeah. It was very cool.
I went to Chicago once. My youngest son was graduating from the Navy boot camp.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to Chicago.
Yeah.
For his graduation. And it was Mother's Day weekend. And it's been quite a few years now. It seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's been a few years now. And it was so cold on that weekend that I flew there from Arizona, and I was not thinking
right
that it would be that cold.
Yeah.
And so I didn't take a coat. So I had to go buy a coat that weekend because I was about to freeze.
Right.
I said, okay, Chicago, thank you. It's been real. It's been nice. But I will not come back here. This time of year.
Yeah.
So that was something that was like my first and only trip to Chicago.
Yeah.
But
and I always loved the seasons, all of the seasons. Actually this would be in the heart of fall in the Midwest right now, which is a beautiful time. Yes. But I've adjusted to the Caribbean. I've really adjusted to swimming in the ocean every day and, enjoying the sunshine and the beautiful nature that surrounds me on this island. So,
yes, I can imagine.
So I adjusted.
I was going to say, did you just make a decision that, this is what you were going to do? Or did you like a girl told me the other day, she just threw a pin at the map?
Well, there are many different ways to decide on where you go. I've been fortunate with my life partner. The two of us have traveled around the world. This is, of course, before travel restrictions have limited us. So hopefully that'll be lifted at some point. But
I hope so too.
Yeah, really. But we traveled around the world, and my partner, he likes to scuba dive, and he is an astronomer. And it's just perfect conditions in the Caribbean for that. Yes. And I've always loved the ocean and the sunshine. So it just was, we did make a decision. We looked for almost 3 years for houses until we found our perfect place. And we just decided to make it home. It was a very, very big move. So, but here we are, and we're very happy.
I was going to say, that's the point.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you look at the process and yeah, you got to do that. But the point is, you're here, you love it.
Right.
Everything worked out like it should. And that is just the most amazing. So,
and the journey is part of the joy of it all too. The journey.
Yes.
And I happen to be with, a life partner who's honest and loving and fun and intelligent, very different than the person I was with for 27 years. So I'm really just enjoying every minute of it. So
I feel you with all of that.
Yeah.
20 years was for me.
Yeah.
With the one. And and this one is God's gift.
Wonderful. Well, it's great when our light bulbs go on and, we have the strength within us to make a change. I just can only hope that the light bulb goes on for my children, that they get the message of what truth is and can, realize that their mother loves them to the moon and back.
Yes, exactly. So what would you say to somebody that was at that place where you were, where it was just time? I mean, you, and the thing is knowing this situation, how I know it is there are always signs. There were
Mhm.
things along the way, over all those different years. And,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, a lot of times, I know for me, a lot of times I would say stuff like, well, I'm going to stay, for the kids, because my
Yeah,
kids
and
were
that's a big factor. I stayed for
yes,
27 years, and I think what you said to, what would you say to someone else in this situation? Pay attention to the red flags.
yes,
Pay attention when your gut intuition is telling you something is not right. Something is probably not right. I ignored so many wrongdoings, and just it was right in my face, and I just ignored it. But at the same time, I was busy living life. I've got to cut myself some slack and give
yes,
myself a break because,
yes,
I was, when you are a good, upstanding, loving person, you kind of think and assume the people that you surround yourself with, have those same values. And
yes,
it's shocking when you find out that they don't, but if you have the strength within you to realize your own worth, realize you can lose everything. You can lose everything material in your life. You can even lose friends and family, and certainly neighbors. And some people lose their health or lose their jobs. But, if you realize that you are a loving, beautiful human being that has worth, you can honor yourself and be strong and take care of yourself.
yes, absolutely. I love that you said that you can honor yourself,
Yeah.
because what I tell women all the time is not only that, but you got to forgive yourself.
Yeah. Mhm.
You got to forgive yourself, because the thing is you only did what you knew, and just like you said, you got to give yourself some grace, cut yourself some slack. However it is, you need to look at it in order to forgive yourself and give yourself that place where you didn't know everything.
No, and
You
actually,
didn't pay
I
attention
think
always.
God blesses us in so many ways. And I think that if my light bulb, and the truth, well, if it was exposed much earlier on, the whole situation could have a completely different ending. And, I am so very thankful that, I had 20 years, being a mom to my children, that I didn't have to deal with custody issues or, some of the challenges that people with minor children have to face. I mean, it's bad enough to go through what you go through, but it would have been even worse if the kids were a lot younger. So I just hope and pray, like I said, that at some point they realize the truth and their light bulb moment can go on. And the biggest thing is, I only wish love and success and happiness for my children. And I think some of that comes from them being independent and being able to realize their worth and follow their own dreams, not the dreams of someone else who has an idea of what they should do and how they should act. And,
Yes.
they need to have that freedom.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
anyway, I
agree.
think
And
it's all part of a process. And I just, at this point, I'm trusting God's plan for me, for my children, I just put some trust and faith, and that's new for me. I grew up atheist. So I really, in fact, this book is about an atheist woman who really questions, did God come to my garage sale? Is there something more on this earth? We're so used to needing evidence and proof. And
yes.
sometimes we need to just trust the universe,
You know what's wild? We always need to do that.
Yeah.
It's like people say, oh, well, when you run out of when you run out of things, then pray. No, pray first.
Mm-hmm.
Pray
Mm-hmm.
first, and then deal with the rest of that.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
it's so amazing that you could actually, because the way this book is written to me is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much, Tammi. That's so nice of you. That means a lot.
Oh yes, I mean
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, the way you laid it out there is just like, okay, because I thought it was based on a true story.
Right. It almost feels real. And actually, many of the scenarios, definitely were inspired by real events. But, there are 13 separate vignettes, and they all kind of follow a pattern of some kind of miracle that happened. And then the character goes back and kind of reflects on her life and different experiences.
Don't tell me that.
Okay. Okay. But I was absolutely honored that the infamous James Redfield, the author of the Celestine Prophecy, endorsed my book and really felt that it had enough worth to put his name on it as well. So, and I also have the support of the IANS community, which is IANS stands for the International Association for Near-Death Studies. So actually, Barbara Bartolome from the Santa Barbara, California, IANS, she wrote my foreword. And I also got endorsements from Diane Willis from the Chicago IANS, and was honored and fortunate enough to speak at IANS to tell the various stories that inspired the book. So, and I'm a music lover and an animal lover. So interspersed with all the stories, you're going to get, some references to some pretty cool music, my generation music. So
I like that as well. I'm a music lover as well. I like pretty much any kind. But more jazz. I'm a jazz girl. Love jazz.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I was supposed to go to a concert the other night here in Seattle at the Jazz Alley, and my husband said, you probably shouldn't go.
Yeah.
So we didn't go because I didn't feel good.
But you'll get to another one sometime.
Oh, yeah, they have them all the time. And, I was planning this one, and I said, well, then we'll go to one next month around my birthday. So it's all good. So when you
and happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you.
A month early. Yeah.
I'll be 53.
All right. I used to be 53 one time.
Right?
7 years ago. Yeah.
I know we laugh about it because my husband actually had his birthday last month.
Okay.
This is October. Yeah, last month he had his birthday. He turned 62. So he's always super excited when I interview people that have decided to, go move someplace else and all that. Yeah. So we're all interested in that. We're like, okay, that sounds really good. We're gonna have to start doing our research.
Yeah.
So when you decide to write different books, this was something I thought about, because to me, it doesn't look like you have like a certain genre that you do.
No, I have a variety of different genres. I write about spirituality. I write fiction. I write nonfiction. I'm just my first book in a 4-book series called True Deceit, False Love. And it's about surviving domestic and family abuse. That just came out. So I'm really, I just like an artist likes to dabble in different mediums. I have an appreciation for all different kinds of writing. And I just kind of, I don't pigeonhole myself into, I have to do this. And my motivation certainly is not monetary, but it's just, I follow my passions of what I'm interested in doing. So, but I definitely am someone who writes every day at some point in the day. Oftentimes it's the first thing in the morning. But I'm just so motivated to write, and so I just have fun with that.
So where did you get that motivation to write?
Well, I think some of it comes from just a love of the written word. I'm someone who was always a student who was interested in learning. I pursued an advanced degree because I wanted to. but I just, I think it's just something that comes from within. It's hard to pinpoint exactly where it is. Definitely surviving some challenges, does prompt you to find some passions. And I think also because of having alienated children, I want to be a role model and kind of tell my story indirectly without any kind of slander or, anything like that. But I want, I think it's important to speak your truth and to put that out there. So I'm motivated in that regard as well. But it's a lot of fun. I had no idea I would be an author of so many books, though. And so that's been very exciting. And when other people are interested too, it kind of makes you feel like, wow, you really made a difference in someone else's life, and your words had meaning.
I was going to say, speak to that just for a second, because we're going to have to wrap up, but I wanted to hear someone else's take on that, because I feel the same way. I have people that are like, your book, I mean, it changed my life. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, because writing in so many ways is such a solitary activity.
Yes.
And so we're used to just kind of being alone or within our own minds.
Yes.
And so we're not really, luckily, Zoom and some of the conferences I've been to and book signings and speaking engagements, afford you the opportunity to interact with others and get their take. And, I think the writing just comes from the heart and comes from your soul, and it's not necessarily influenced by, what other people want to hear. But at the same time, it's really nice to know that you made a nice positive impact on someone and that they enjoyed, reading your work.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. So the last question I want to ask is, what do you see your impact for the future? For future generations? Or, I mean, what is it that when you look at yourself and you look inside yourself, what is the impact that you wanted to create, that you wanted to share, that you wanted to put out into the world?
That's a very good question. Yeah, it's a very good question.
Awesome.
I would say the impact is really not a self-serving one. It's more that I would like to be known as a caring, empathetic person who is encouraging others to seek their truths and to come to terms with experiences that they have had so that they can live a more fulfilling life. I would say that would be a very honorable impact to encourage other people. And especially since I'm writing about parental alienation and domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, I mean, there are so many men and women that have experienced this, and unfortunately, so many children that are caught in the crossfire with this. And I think to be a voice for some, or to give people hope that goodness and truth eventually prevails, even when justice may not, even though many of us have suffered significant losses. And I think the people that lose the most really are the children. They are stuck, they are dependent, they are numb, they are sad, they are angry, they need to self-actualize. And I think knowledge is power. So sometimes our voices matter. And if we can provide any ounce of encouragement for other people to live their best life, that's a super rewarding place to be.
Yes, I agree. All right. So share with the people where they can connect with you. And if you have anything else that is coming up soon, like I know you have your book. You might want to talk about that a little bit, just to share with the people, where they can get it and all that kind of stuff.
Well, sure. My books, and I'm a co-author of 5 anthology books that are bestsellers. And then I have my True Deceit, False Love series. Hopefully in the next month or two, book 2 and 3 will come out with that. And then, of course, I have my award-winning, spiritual fiction, God Came to My Garage Sale, which I was so honored won the 2020 Best Books Award. That was, a wonderful actual surprise. But my books and my events and book signings and speaking engagements, podcast interviews, they can all be found on my website, which is the title of my book, which is God Came to My Garage Sale. And there's a menu tab, and you can read about me and my books, and you can read about the various major influencers that endorsed my books. But under the happenings menu tab, you can kind of scroll down, and I have a running list of different things that I've been involved in. I'm not on social media. I really wanted to spend more time writing. So that's what I did. And so that's kind of where you can keep up to date with me on what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this has been such an amazing interview, y'all. And I know that y'all have heard it because y'all have been listening to us. So if you are watching on the TV show or on YouTube, or if you are listening on Anchor, Spotify, Radio Breaker, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to your podcast for, thank you so much for listening and joining us. And I would hope that you would follow Dr. Marni here and watch what she does, because she is amazing. I'm looking at her body of work, and it is so awesome. And I love it because it's so inspiring. I mean, just that book in itself, and I can't wait to read the next one because that like inspired. But that book in itself, just the name of it, like, okay, this grabs you. This grabs you. Because I want to know, how does God come to the garage sale?
Right. And you have to read it to find out, but there are many different ways. And I would say the biggest thing is and I really mean this, to be open to the universe's signs and synchronicities, because we are getting messages throughout our lives, and it's amazing. It's life-changing.
Every day.
Yeah. Definitely.
Especially living through this amazing, what were they calling it? Pandemonium.
Or pandemic, whatever you'd like to call it. But goodness and truth prevails. It doesn't always happen, in the time frame we would like it, but I believe that there are so many blessings to be thankful for. And every day I am grateful for just so many different things.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's how I want to live my life. Happy, grateful, loving, kind, honest. Those are my values, and I'm sticking to them.
I was going to say, and that's what we want to spread with everyone, with the whole world, because we're at a crossroads.
Right. We're at the precipice. We love conquers all, I believe. Yes. And actually, people that have returned from near-death experiences, every single one of them says that the vibration of love is what everything is all about. And
so did you actually have one?
No, I didn't actually have a near-death experience. And, but I certainly had what's called STEs, which are spiritually transformative experiences. So I experienced some of the same things with the slow motion, with things being manifested, just miracles happening. So I experienced a lot of those, which is right up there with near-death experiences.
That is awesome. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah, talking with Tammi. I could probably talk to Dr. Marni for another hour.
Yeah, we could.
But we will not do that on this setting.
Yeah. No.
So again, thank you so much for joining us, for listening to us, for watching us. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Take care.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.